patent to product. So I believe that all of you should be looking forward to reach that fourth stage, that eventually that your paper should finally be able to, reach to the patentable stage. And your idea is so unique that, somebody can pick up that idea and, maybe collaborate with you, or, buy that idea from you to create a real product which create the impact in the society. So we all are here as, researchers and faculty academicians, that, we are able to create something that, create an impact in the society. Tanviji, I request you to please mute yourself. So I hope we all understand why it was important to understand that how do we identify the right problems, because that will take us to our real path, whether we are eventually targeting to design a product or publish the right paper, or from paper to reach the patent stage. Let me quickly share my slides for today. Is my screen visible?
No,
Normal
madam.
is my screen?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. I hope it should be visible now.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, great. Thanks. So we are going to talk about the utilization of design thinking for faculty and educators, how you can transform the real problems into publishable and protectable research. So we should not think that it's a technique which is only usable for people who are into the technical domain or who are into the product domain. It is equ- I request the participants to please keep yourself mute and just unmute yourself whenever we are in the discussion mode or in the Q&A mode. So we should keep this in mind, that this technique is equally useful for the educators, so that they are able to identify the real problems and able to transform them into publishable research. So design thinking is for researchers too, because it's a structured framework which helps you identify the meaningful research problems, which eventually will generate an impact in the society, which has to be publishable and protectable. So it does not replace your research methodology. It strengthens by helping us identify the meaningful, impactful, and innovative research problems. And yesterday, when we were discussing, we were at the first stage, empathize and ideate stage. That's the thing which we discussed yesterday, that, we need to have the right inspiration. We need to empathize and understand for whom we are solving the problem, and what the user, and for what purpose it is going to be used, how the impact it will create for the eventual user. So that's where the process of inspiration and empathizing starts. So what makes a strong research problem? So today what I'll do is I'll focus all my discussion from the research paper and identification of the right research problem perspective, so that it sets the context for the audience here, because I know that there are, faculty educators here. So I've kept the discussion for today from your perspective only. And if you will allow me, towards the end, we'll discuss, from the product perspective, that how, people in the market are designing the solution, because that's also very important for you. I don't think that we are here just to publish our papers. That's of course our one of the goals, but our eventual goal has to be that our research paper has to be strong enough that it leads to creation of something in the product form, which creates the impact towards the society. And trust me, I'm working with professors in IIT Delhi from the biotech department and in the electrical department. They are, the co-founders of various startups here. And in FICT, we give a lot of importance to the startups which come from the professors or the good combination of professors and students. So that's where, the strength comes in. So good research problems are real and painful. Um, you are really looking for the areas which are still unsolved or maybe partially solved. Right. We discussed the two by two grid yesterday around critical thinking, lateral thinking, lean thinking, and design thinking. So in design thinking, we should eventually look for the problems which are unknown, unsolved. So that's where you can really utilize design thinking to keep your research problem in that fourth quadrant. It has to be measurable. So you should identify an area where around which you can collect the data. It should be relevant to society, industry, or education area. And very, very important point, extremely important point is novelty. So it should be capable of producing some novel ideas. Like, for example, Airbnb. So the product did not come out of any research paper, but the idea was very novel in the context that who would have thought that that house owners would allow strangers to come and stay with them. So a very novel idea. And we all know whenever we talk about any novel idea, people first is they laugh. Like if I tell you about Netflix, when Netflix entered the market, they were doing, the DVD rental business. And that was the time when Blockbuster, if you know about this company, they had a chain of DVD rental stores. So the owner of Netflix, he went to Blockbuster and asked them that why don't you invest in our company or why don't you buy us? Because live streaming and digital streaming of content is going to be the future, and that's where we want to work in. And the whole team laughed, and they really laughed on their idea that how would people quit this idea of uh, renting the DVDs and just consume the streaming content. And yet 10 years, fast forward 10 years, Netflix, sorry. So I'm not showing Netflix slide. I'm just verbally discussing. I'm showing this research problem slide. So I'm just verbally discussing about Netflix. So and fast forward 10 years, Netflix stick to its idea. They heavily invested on the video streaming platform. And fast forward 10 years, Blockbuster, it got sold and it went bankrupt. And they have now even closed their last store. And we all use Netflix. So, novel ideas are of course risky, but if you see value in that, and I mean, that's going to create a real big gains and real societal impact to your idea. So for faculty's perspective, the best topics naturally they connect to publications. They are they can create an impact in interdisciplinary work. Show you one example of interdisciplinary. Of course, practical implementation. I discussed about critical solutions and Siren AI about yesterday. So these are the companies who are born out of these kind of research papers of faculty and students together, and now running, a 25-year-old company. Of course, patent potential. So we need to really, for research perspective, we talk, it is very, very important for us to identify the real problems which are unsolved and have the potential to create an impact on the society. Trust me, you will naturally fall into the patentable and production handy ideas. So if you look at the two topics written here, study of AI in education, if you take this as a topic, so it's very vague, it's very broad. It does not show you any measurable impact here. However, if we kind of convert it into a format that, let's say we frame it in a manner, how can AI detect disengagement among online learners in real time using behavioral indicators? So here you have very specifically told that you are talking about online learners. So your target audience is identified. You're also showing how using behavioral indicators. And you're also backing up with that disengagement. So you have framed your problem in a very specific manner. It's measurable. You have somewhere very nicely identified the gap. And to an extent, I can say it would be somewhere novel. Of course, we can research and identify that, is somebody working on this kind of a problem statement or not. But if we very deeply look at this kind of a statement, that how can AI detect this engagement among online learners in real time using behavioral indicators? So if I give you the example, one of the product I worked with Byju's. So when I was working with Byju's, we created one product in their online tool, wherein on a real-time basis we could see whether the students are engaged or not. We were when the students switch on their camera, we could detect their eyes, whether their eyes are drowsy, how many students have switched off their camera on and off, how many times. So this is how we used to map their attendance. So these are the tools which Byju's in collaboration with Critical developed so that they were able to detect the disengagement among online learners. So if one is able to frame the research problem in the manner, it helps you structure your thesis in a very right manner. So it is very important. I was going through multiple research topics yesterday, and I could see many of them, writing it very vaguely, study of this, I did identify this. But when I saw the papers who got really good recognition in various conferences, I could see that they had really spent lot of time in writing the problem correctly. So this is a very important topic. This holds true for us also. So yesterday when I was talking about empathizing inspiration, I told you that we spend lot of time in terms of observing and taking inspiration. What are we going to solve? Because we are able to solve problem very easily. But what we are solving, identifying that is very important. So that is why I wanted to bring this to you that for your research perspective, identifying, taking the right inspirational topic and reframing it well is very important. So this one, weak versus strong research topics. I do activity I'll give you, will do and back of online learning, all the students. But if how about if somebody frame it nicely that how can students engagement in online classes be predicted using behavioral analytics? So going by my previous slide, that this is also one of the way that in online classes, how can you predict the student engagement using some tools? Then what will you do is if you know that this is you're going to be a research topic, you will your audience, you will do surveys with your with teachers, you'll do survey with the students, you'll identify what kind of behavioral analytics we can see. Are people yawning, are people looking at their mobile phones? So those behavioral analytics, are people in stress? Is their face turning red during the class? So all these pointers will give you an idea that how can we measure the student engagement. So I'm just taking few examples Of course, this will give you some idea that how can you identify your topics and frame your problem well. So let's go to Mentimeter. So I have taken as this as one of the first topic. This is the inspiration I'm giving you that let's say we want to discuss, write paper on this topic, mental health, stress among students. So you can scan the Menti code here and maybe throw some ideas that, how would you like to frame this problem well so that it is measurable, may create an impact towards for the students if you're able to identify their stress well and overall society, how will it create an impact? So just see that if this is an inspiration for your research paper, how will you frame your research problem? We can take, I'll give you 5 minutes on this. We are at 27. So we can, in the meanwhile, if you keep getting ideas, you can just start writing your answers on the Menti. Please scan this code. I can just see 4 people have scanned the code. Request you to please scan this code. You can use Paytm or Camera app for this. And would request that, I know that we are not getting more of verbal responses. So let's try to keep our Mentimeter responses active so that, it's beneficial for all of us that students feel stressed because they don't attend the classes. So this is the, students feel stressed because they don't attend the classes. So I would like to suggest here, why don't you write your responses in the question format? So this is the topic of, yeah, this is a good one. Impact of social websites and FOMO on college and students in Delhi NCR. Yeah, that's a good way. That's a nice one. Impact of social websites and FOMO on college and students in Delhi NCR. And we can, if we want to, it's up to you because it's your research paper, whether you want to keep your research specific to Delhi NCR or Pan India. So that's up to you. Impact of parental expectations on a student's stress level. Yeah. So here, I beg your pardon, you want to say something? Impact of parental expectations on students' stress level. Yeah. So, well, in this case, what will happen is your audience will become parents as well as the students. So, you can run your survey with both of them. So, in this case, you can compare the responses of parents as well as students together, and then we create a comparative analysis that what parents are expecting and what students are expecting, that what parents should expect from them. So that can give you a very good analysis and a good topic for research. Very good. You can have two, three responses more. So try to frame it in a manner that, you're able to bring out the measurable results. Impact of peer pressure on a student's stress level. So when you say the impact of peer pressure on a student's stress level, I think we can frame it a bit more because when we frame our problem, we should think that it should be measurable. So when we will be judging the peer pressure impact, we should have that right audience so that we are able to collect the right data. Too much social media influence, difference between parents and student and demands, this is common. They don't take classes seriously. Personal and emotional challenges, low self-esteem, loneliness, anxiety, or depression. So the way we are writing here is that why don't we rewrite in a way that, you know, when you start doing your research, you're able to structure it well. Impact of technology overuse on students' emotional and mental well-being and concentration. That's a good way to write that impact of technology overuse. So technology overuse is the underlying word here. That how overusage of technology by students is impacting their emotional and mental well-being and their concentration level. Bullying and harassment. So you have identified the right point here, bullying and harassment. But I would have requested that if you are able to frame it well, because my objective here to take you to a path wherein you're able to frame your research problem well. So I'll pick up two, three pointers from your statements from here. One is impact of social websites and FOMO on college and students in Delhi NCR. That's one of the good way. So you can, ask questions that which all websites do you use for how many hours, etc. So that becomes part of your surveys. So it's measurable. Impact of parental expectations on student stress level. That's the second one I'll pick. Third one I'll pick is impact of technology overuse on students' emotional and mental well-being and concentration. So you all did a great job. So these two, three statements are the ones which can help you write your paper in a very structured manner. And these are the right research problems. So you can also think about something like, can digital behavioral patterns help identify the academic burnout among students? So all these are good ways. Great. Let's do one more. Uh, So I'm giving you the next inspiration, which is digital examination systems. If you have to take inspiration around this topic, how will you structure your research problem? Try to bring in an element which goes beyond the research paper. Let's say you are also towards the end of your paper introducing or proposing a solution which is patentable and also can get into the production, a product creation category, because that has real good impact while you publish the paper. Otherwise, what happens is that, yeah, I know the first target is to publish the paper, but your paper will get dumped in some library or some journal. So we should all aspire to do something which creates some real impact. So think from that perspective. Just take 5 minutes here. We can start discussing from 2:40 onwards. privacy and security concerns in digital examination systems, relationship between technical issues in online exams and students' anxiety. Yeah, that's a good topic. Impact of digital examination systems on students' results. Yeah. When we're talking about digital examinations, we can also think around remote proctoring, that how can we introduce certain tools that remote proctoring or some sort of AI-based tools, proctoring tools that reduces cheating issues while also maintaining the student privacy. Impact of digital literacy in students' experience with online exams. Can we use how format in terms of framing our problem? Because that will really help you take a good path. It will give you the solution mindset. I request you to please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Factors affecting students' acceptance of what are the factors affecting students' acceptance of digital examination system? Impact of gamification and digital examination system. A study on India's students and their mental well-being. That's a very good way. That's a very nice framing. When you talk about the examinations which are happening in the digital mode, because uh, in corporate we take a lot of interviews here in the online mode, and while we are doing the interviews, people are using AI tools while answering the questions. So a lot of researchers are looking for the ways how can we control this kind of a behavior, how can we identify that people are not using the tools while they are giving interviews or something like that. So you can think from that perspective also when we are talking about the digital examination systems. How can we make them more foolproof? How does the usability of digital examination systems influence student satisfaction? Is a good point. Does familiarity with technology reduce testing? Oh, that's a great one. Does familiarity with technology reduce test anxiety in digital examination? That's a very good way. That's an excellent problem framing. So if you see the framing which are happening in more of the question form, they sometimes kind of gives some sort of a kick to your mind that, there's a question in the research problem I'm putting, and now I'm going to study on it and then identify a solution for it. So when you write it in a statement format, many a times uh, you may just deep dive into the problem, present the facts, but mostly solutioning part would be missing towards the end. But when you present it in some sort of a question format, you tend to yourself see that I have to present a solution towards the end. So when somebody writes, does familiarity with technology reduce test anxiety in digital examination? he or she would have got yes or answer as yes or no towards the end. But I would suggest that towards the end, you also propose the solution that how will this reduce the test anxiety, difficulty in managing the authenticity and security in online mode. So how you can frame it in a manner, how can the authorities manage the authenticity and security during online examinations while preserving the students' privacy? Because very important, it's preserving students' privacy is very important when we are, or any digital format we are working for. So we need to maintain the security of all the stakeholders. So how do we do maintain the authenticity and security in the online mode? Let's think for one more minute here, 1 to 2 minutes more on this topic, then we'll move on to the next topic. How do rural and urban students differ in their experience? Oh, wow, very good. Excellent one. That's my first choice out of all the responses. How do rural and urban students differ in their experiences with digital examinations? That's a good one. Okay. So we've got good responses on this topic. So now I hope you'll be able to understand that how the right framing of research problem is very important. That this one, how do rural and urban one, does familiarity with technology reduce test anxiety, impact of gamification and digital examination. These are really good ways to frame your problem. Let's you go for one more, two, three more actually, because I think this will really enhance your learning. Waste management in urban campuses, university campuses, or yeah, you can imagine that. So waste management in urban campuses. So that's an inspiration of your research topic. So let's give 5 minutes to this. We'll start discussion at 2:50 on this one. So think little more thoroughly. We have discussed two examples and I've give you some framework on in terms of how to rightly frame it. So let's be more creative now. You can introduce technology also. So in your problem framing, you can introduce some sort of technology also. So that will give a way in terms of working on certain technology, maybe IoT, AI, those who are familiar with some sort of technologies. Because in this case, you can go for real implementation. You can partner with someone, and once your research paper gets published, you can patent and then partner for real implementation. It's the topic in that direction. I can give you some inspirations like recycling, but effectiveness of recycling and sustainability campaign in reducing campus waste. Very good. Very good. So you can plan your surveys and studies around judging the effectiveness of the campaigns. You can add the persona here, maybe student campaigns or faculty campaigns. So you can write it in a manner, effectiveness of recycling and sustainability campaigns by students or teachers in reducing campus waste. So it's kind of will define your audience, but this is a good one. How to manage waste management is a challenge for authorities. Okay, so you're saying that why waste management is a challenge for authorities. Waste management and its challenge faced by authorities. Yeah, in urban campuses. So then kind of you will kind of specify your research area. So you are looking for solving the waste management problem in urban campuses only. So what you can do then is that you can align 10, 15 urban campuses and run your research there or 10. So when you define your target audience persona, that really helps you structure your thoughts well. Try to look for some sort of a technology introduction as well in your problem statement, although it's not necessary, but will help you. Impact of technology on improving waste management efficiency in urban campuses. Okay, that's good. Waste management in urban campuses refers to the systematic collection, segregation, recycling, treatment, and disposal of waste generated by student faculty. This looks like a very simple statement. I mean, it's kind of a definition only. I would not qualify this as a research problem statement. Sorry. If you can restructure it a bit more from the framing of the problem perspective, it's just the definition of waste management in urban campuses. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, whosoever has written this statement. This is a statement which will not qualify as your topic. Let's have two, three more ideas. Oh, very good. Very good. Role of waste management education in urban campuses and its impact on waste recycling. Extremely, very nice. Good one. AI-driven waste management system in urban campuses. That's a good one. However, I would like to reframe is how can AI-driven waste management system in urban campuses brings efficiency? So you will kind of reframe it in a manner that can help you structure your thoughts much better. But it's okay. Let's have two more responses here because that gives a good inspiration for us to do a good comparison. And so we learn. So that's the way we learn, that we learn from each other. I just give 2 more minutes to this. Ensure safe disposal in urban campuses. So we can frame it how to ensure safe disposal in urban campuses, how artificial intelligence helps urban campuses for waste management. That's a good one, but we already have that kind of response, but good try. Identify, request you to please mute yourself. Sorry, can you please mute yourself? डॉक्टर ज्योत्सना डॉक्टर ज्योत्सना can I request you to please mute yourself? Dr. Jyotsna, can you please mute yourself? Komal, can you please disable their mic? Komal, please disable Dr. Jyotsna's mic, please. Komal, can I request you to please mute Dr. Jyotsna? मैंने भी साथ प्रेजेंट करा लेते हैं सुनो तो मैं मैडम फिर ग्रुप पर डाल बनाएगा कौन मैं क्या आपके समझ में ना मान बस सब अपना अपना बनाएंगे करो टाइम का हम ये पता क्या जो आज जो बातें मैंने कहा कि मैम आप ना ऐसे कर लो जो लोग जैसे उन्होंने कहा ना शाम संध्या मिल के मैंने कहा अपने के क्यों नहीं कर रहे भाई ये भाई समझाना पहले 25-26 तो मैंने फिर कल किसको बोला था कि भाई sorry about this disturbance. Let's go back to our. Okay. Identify effective strategies that university can adopt to achieve zero waste campuses. That's a very good way. Excellent one. So if I have to pick my responses from here, I would say the how AI, artificial intelligence helps urban camps. That's a good one. AI-driven waste management. That's a good one. Identify effective strategies that universities can adopt to achieve zero waste campus. That's also a very good one. Role of waste management in education in urban campuses and its impact on waste recycling. Adaptation of effective and efficient strategies. So I can keep these two in the same category, identify effective strategies and adaptation of effective and efficient strategies in the same category. The good responses. How can smart technologies improve the efficiency of urban waste collection and disposal? Yeah, we can add the word urban campuses. So good responses. I think now you are going in the thinking in the right direction. We'll take two questions more. Let's take this one. Faculty research productivity. So it relates to you. How can you increase the productivity of faculty? We'll take the farming example later. I request you to do this one first. You can think from any perspective. Is there anything which is stopping or deteriorating the faculty productivity? So that how can that be? So this is your area, your area on which research can be done. So you are going to be the user yourself. So you know what all problems you face and you can write a paper on yourself. So you know what kind of problems are faced by faculties. I think I will learn more from the responses which I'll get here. So think thoroughly on this and let's give 5 minutes to this topic. Impact of teaching and administrative workload. Okay, very good. I could relate to it. That you would be spending a lot of time in teaching and administrative workload that impacts your research productivity. Yeah. A study on faculty and their research productivity moderated by recognition and monetary benefits mediated by ethics. Can we reframe it a bit more? A study on faculty. Whosoever has written this statement, if you can unmute yourself and help us understand what you're trying to say. If you're not able to, that's also okay, but it will be great if you can unmute yourself and help us understand.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yeah, who's this?
Ravleen Kaur.
Ravli. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. So the study is based. I wanted to conduct a study on that basis. Like there are faculty members who have to produce research, and the thing that motivate would be moderating factor would be recognition and monetary benefits for them, and mediated by how much ethically they are working towards uh, research production, and how much ethically they are proving it in the right direction, rather than just
Hmm.
publishing in a fake journals or clone journals, how ethically they are
Right,
publishing it.
correct. Right. So if I have to ask you that, how would you measure it? What are going to be your ways? How will you measure it? Can you help us understand that? What kind of surveys you will run in this case? Will people be ready to, give the responses? I know your topic is very strong and, very ethical.
And possibilities less, but I have not yet
Hmm.
conducted a literature review regarding the same.
Mm-hmm.
So if there might be,
That's okay.
there are various studies on ethical research, so there might be
Yeah.
construct regarding the same.
Right, right, right. So basically, what I'm trying to bring a point here is that the topic which you choose, you may feel that you will face difficulties in terms of, coming out with a proper study, but you should not stop yourself in identifying the ethical topics. So that's the point, through this discussion, Ravleen, I wanted to bring here. I know it's going to be a difficult study for you, but you've chosen the right topic. If you're able to establish the right results here, I think you'll be able to create a good society impact. Great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Faculty research productivity refers to the quantity and quality of research work produced by faculty members in a college. You know, common indicators of no, this is not going to work. Again, you have written the definition of what the question I asked. So that should not be the way you should be framing your problem. Absolutely no. Role of institutional support in enhancing faculty research productivity. That is a good point. Yeah. Influence of research incentives and reward on faculty publication performance. Yes. So you want to understand that, if your incentives and rewards are, good or well compensated, that's going to create a good, performance of faculty publications. So you can correlate these 2 points and produce results. Faculty research productivity is the measurable scholarly output of academic staff, including publications, research projects, patents. No, no, no. This is again is the definition. So you're trying to understand the definition of this topic, but that cannot be the framing. That should not be the way you should be framing your research problem, because the way you reframe your problem will help you construct your study. By doing the definition part, you won't be able to do the construction of your study, structuring of your study, and then eventually producing the results desired. Come on, I think you can. I was hoping that I'll get very good responses on this topic because this is something very close to all of you. I've got very good responses here. One is around their teaching and administrative workload, then correlation between the incentives and rewards. The third is around the institutional risk support. So try to identify the roadblockers in faculty research productivity. What are the roadblocks? And why do you think that you should create a study around it so that when your study gets published, authorities may take some action on it? So your research problem can have policy implications also. So this is a topic inspiration which can really go around the policy implications. You may not be able to create any product or tool or something around that, but if you can, that's going to be great. But it's a good topic around the policy implications or the institutional improvement. Let's think more. Let's take 2-3 minutes more and see if we can give more responses. Impact of availability of research softwares and research databases on research productivity of faculty members, right? So you can do a thorough study on research softwares and research databases and how it is impacting your research productivity. So that's the fourth point we've got. We've got the workload, we've got the institutional support, we've got the incentives and rewards point, and now we've got the tools, the availability of tools. Let's just get one more response. Try to keep it different from the other four responses we've received so far. What factors affect research productivity among early career faculty in Indian higher education institutions? Yeah, for early career faculty, you want to do a study. Yeah, that's good. I was thinking for one question that what factors prevent faculty researchers from translating into patents and industry applications? So when I was, thinking about it, that why faculty research just stay within the boundaries of research papers. What are those factors which prevent the research translating into patents and industry applications? Because I've been working with biotech department here and in electrical. So out of thousands and thousands of research papers, we just get 2 to 5 ideas, which go into real industry applications. So, what factors prevent faculty research from translating into patents and industry? I really want to, I'm very eager to know around it. So if somebody can take it as a topic of their research, I think it's going to be really good. The faculty members are putting genuine effort into research and academic growth. Many teachers actively participate in seminars, workshops.
It's a nice
Teachers actively. Neha ji, I request you to please mute yourself.
Well, time is not worry. Because if you close time of the take a balance in love.
Thank you. The faculty members are putting genuine effort into research and academic growth. Many teachers actively participate in seminars, workshop conferences, and research projects to keep updated. So, what do you want to say here? If you can unmute yourself and tell us, because we are not able to get your message on this statement. Whosoever has written this. So, your research problem framing cannot be this big. You cannot write 2, 3 sentences in your research problem framing, and it has to be direct and easily understandable. So I may not be able to qualify that just as a problem statement. Okay, let's go to the last one now. Your inspiration is AI tools in research writing. So this is the last one, and do, we'll study something around it. AI tools in research writing. You can try to give it some sort of other ethical dimension to it, this topic, or the current concerns in terms of AI assisted tools in research, plagiarism, and all those areas you can think about, and how these tools are supporting or not supporting. So take that inspiration. Artificial intelligence tools have transformed research writing by improving efficiency, accuracy, and productivity. These tools assist researchers in various stages of the no, please don't write these kind of sentences while framing your research problem. Don't do that. It's not the right way. There would be some literature review systems, some sort of plagiarism identification systems. Examine the ethical concerns associated with the use of AI tool. Very good, very good. Examine the ethical concerns associated with the use of AI tool in research writing. So I'll just pick up the pointers from this response. So you can write that how can literature uh, review systems help researchers in writing their papers on grammar checking. So though, just try to frame it in that manner that let's say how can AI assisted grammar checking tools improve the research quality. AI can support data interpretation and visualization, making research finding easier to understand and present. Please avoid writing these long statements when you are working on your research topic. Let's have some more responses because I've not got the good responses of this one. I've given you certain inspirations. So let's just have two, three good responses. Take your time, no hurry. You can spend 2, 3 minutes more on this topic. Identify the risk of plagiarism, and bias, and misinformation arising from AI generated research content. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Let's have one or two more responses. Then we'll close this activity and we'll move to the discussion points. No more responses. I think we shall close it now. So I would pick up this one. Identify the risk of plagiarism, bias, and misinformation arising from AI generated research content. Examine the ethical concerns associated with the use of AI tool in research writing. I think these are 2 points which have come out really well. So I kind of gave you some inspiration. So that's how you can, just take inspirations and, identify your areas, that how you want to uh, create an impactful research studies. So what we learned from this exercise is that how do we identify a strong research problem? Is it real? Who faces it? So it helps you identify your target audience. Is it important? Is it worth solving? So while we were discussing our design thinking process yesterday, so that was the point we discussed at the time of divergent thinking, that, scale and severity. So is this problem severe enough? Is it impacting 10 people or 10 million people? In your case, you can squeeze it down to some thousands. So is it really important? Does solving it will matter? Is there a gap? To just do some sort of a research that, is it still an unsolved area, or is it a solved problem? So identifying this gap is very important, because then what will happen is that you'll end up maybe replicating somebody else already ongoing work. So while you're doing the research and, creating your study, you should also identify that, is somebody working or not working on the same problem, and at what stage they are. Is it measurable? Can data be collected? So we discussed Ravleen's case, that, she identified a very ethical topic to work on, but can data be collected? So is it going to be measurable? So should not happen that you've been working on it, that and then you get stuck somewhere in between because you're not able to collect the data well on it. So you should think about it. Is there novelty? If you really want to go for the patents, it should be different and it has to be really, really novel. And finally, can it create impact academically, industrially, socially, or commercially? So while you are working on your research area, you should give a checklist around these 6 points. If you get check on at least 5 points out of these six, I think you should go ahead with your research study. So let's look at this case. Um, Student attention and learning fatigue. So this is one of the area I just wanted to discuss with you till the research gap point. So real observation is, our inspiration is that students lose attention within 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. So that's your observation, that students lose attention, and we want to write, something around it and create a study around it so that we are able to understand what's the problem behind. Some people can, so let's do a poll here. Let's do a quick poll here. So how many factors? So we all are belonging to the same fraternity. How many faculty members feel students lose attention within 15-20 minutes? Sorry, this question has not fully been printed. So how many faculty members feel students lose attention within 15-20 minutes? Just give it a poll. Very frequently, sometimes, or rarely. Sometimes. You just have to take one option. So just share your experience. Very frequently. I think most of you can respond. I would like to have good amount of responses here. You just have to give one response. No brainer here. Very frequently. I request you to please respond on this question because that will help us, discuss this case in more detail. I've got just three responses. Can I just have at least 10 responses, please? You just have to do a poll, that's it. Very frequently. Mhm. Let's have five more responses at least. Rarely. Sometimes. Let's just give 1 more minute to this poll. Okay, let's close it. So maximum responses we've got is very frequently and sometimes. So we tend to kind of, let's just for the sake of our discussion, we can say that we have established that students do tend to lose attention within 15-20 minutes. And let's define our problem. So in a very weak manner, we can say students are not attentive. Now, if we frame it in a manner that faculty cannot identify cognitive disengagement in real time, that we as faculty are not able to identify that why they are disengaging in real time. So what we will do is we'll start identifying the reasons behind it, right? So we then start moving into the empathy layer. We identify the categories. Is it a behavioral issue? Is it a cognitive issue? Is it a technological issue? Or is it an emotional issue? So if I ask you a question, sorry, I'm so sorry. You can see my Mentimeter slide, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. If I ask you a question that just a simple question, why do students disengage? What will you say? What happens? Now you're trying to empathize with your students, not
Interest.
just simply saying you can type your answer in Menti. I have the Menti slide open. Friends interruption, yeah. Faculty pedagogy are their way of teaching, yes. You can have multiple answers to it. Digital distractions, yeah. Mobile phones, etc. Social media. So try to get into the empathizing mode. Don't think like a faculty, think like a student. So why do they disengage? Hypnosis, lack of interest, low motivation, mental stress, that's a good point. Family pressure. So now if we go, you can keep punching your answers, perceived irrelevance. They feel that, it's irrelevant for me. Poor classroom environment, love life, social life. So you keep punching your responses. So if we look the way we had defined the problem in a week, the students are not attentive. We just say that, they're not attentive. Vis-a-vis, we start empathizing and start trying to identify the real issues, we'll be able to really deep dive into this problem. And it's a real problem. It's a real problem. It's a good topic for research. Let's just give 1, 2 more minutes to yourself and bring out more thoughts here because you engage with the students day in, day out. So you would know at least why are they disengaging. But the points we've got so far are good, but let's have 2, 3 more minutes spent on this. Poor interaction. Now, all the points which we have kind of collected here, we can categorize into 4 categories: internal, external scheme. And we're getting more responses, so let's just give 1 more minute here. Personal problems, yeah. Okay. I think we've got good responses. Thank you. Thank you so much. Weather conditions. Yeah. Sometimes, it starts raining and students don't feel like sitting in the class. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. So what we can do here is now we can start structuring these responses in four categories, whether these are behavioral issues or cognitive issues, technological issues, or emotional issues. So that's where you will start seeing that, your research problem is has started gaining some sort of a structure here. So research gap which you'll identify is existing systems lack real-time mechanisms for detecting cognitive disengagement during live teaching. So if you're teaching, maybe taking online class or live class, so our existing systems are lacking the real-time mechanisms. That's the research gap. So I'm just kind of discussing some real problem. It is not backed by some research which I've come with in terms of my responses around research gap. So these are the hypothetical statements which I'm writing, which I've written here, and of course we can validate. So if you see that multiple research questions can pop up from one problem. Can facial and behavioral indicators predict disengagement? Does adaptive teaching improve retention? Can AI monitoring improve learning outcomes? What patterns indicate cognitive fatigue? So if you look at these four research questions, they just came from one problem. So if you spend good amount of time in problem discovery, in real problem discovery, and I think we discussed 5 examples, and I got really good thought processes that, when I was discussing the faculty research productivity, you could think from 4 to 5 domains. Is it the research softwares, or are the incentives, or teaching workload, which is impacting the productivity? So one topic can give you inspiration to write multiple papers, and it can be interdisciplinary. You can go into the education mode. You can write paper around psychology, attention behavior. You can write something around AI, data science, prediction models, design, the user experience. You can work around electronics, some sort of sensor integration, which can predict the students' disengagement in the class. So now we are moving from problem to papers to patents and products, right? So if you thoroughly look at the research problem in detail, it can have such a strong potential. Papers, because papers just explain general ideas are not patentable. You need to have a proper mechanism behind your study. And that starts from the right problem discovery. And that's where design thinking will help you. When you start applying the empathy layer. And all this came out when we started applying the empathy layer. If you just jump onto the solution part and do not spend time on the problem discovery and empathizing with the user persona, you will not be able to frame these four questions. And we can frame, I think, 50 more questions like that. And you can also bring novelty. So I'll just pause here my discussion and maybe would like to open the forum for questions, thoughts, and so far whatever we discussed. Do you all agree and disagree or have any other thoughts? So we can just discuss for 5 minutes and then I'll just take you to the validation slide. Thank you, Shagun. Agree. Yes, said you agree. So far, what we have discussed around design thinking process, how can it be helpful in your uh, research papers, patenting? Maybe one of you, you can, if you would like to share your thought process, your idea of what we just discussed in the last 2 days, we'll be happy to hear from one or two of you. I've heard Ravleen and Kirti. Ravleen and Kirti, if you would like to unmute yourself and speak, and any other participant here. I didn't want to because we have discussed a lot around teaching methodologies and student engagement and all. So we would love to keep it two-way communication. So happy to hear from any one of you. You can take your time, maybe just spend 1 or 2 minutes and just unmute yourself and speak.
To be honest, I haven't yet have a thought regarding the patenting and all, but
Mm-hmm.
still willing to. So my interest areas are regarding IPR and SDG goals. So
Okay.
somehow relating it, and currently I'm also associate with being an assistant professor. So
Mm-hmm.
thinking about combination of anything that can be relevant to the students, as well as like I told regarding education on waste management system and all. So is there
Mm-hmm.
anything that can be created but being a management faculty or from a management background?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great topic. In fact, if you are talking about the SDG goals and IPR, so what is happening in the around the SDG goals is that I'll give you the FITT example here. So what is happening is a lot of corporates are betting their CSR funds around SDG, and if you are able to do something around sustainability, climate, waste management. So one of our startups here, which is in collaboration with one of the professors, I am not, I'm simply forgetting the name of that startup. So what you can do is if you have student faculty led kind of an idea uh, around waste management, and if you can kind of collaborate and within the waste management topics, so you can probably apply to any business incubator, wherein as a professor you will get a first mover sort of an advantage, and you can access CSR fundings also. So these are very relevant topics. Try, first start is your paper. You start from your paper and then look for some sort of a collaboration, maybe faculty collaboration, student faculty collaboration, and apply for the college-led uh, incubators. She'll get a good edge. I'm sure about it.
And ma'am, is there any possibility to get funding regarding like IC, SSR projects or something like that for
Of
our
course, of
research?
course, of course, there are those opportunities also available.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you. We can take one more thought or question. Okay, no worries, no questions, no thoughts. So we'll move to our next slide, which is around validation. So, how do you validate your research? Problem is real, yes. Faculty and students experience it. So, I'm taking the previous example only. Measurable, yes. The behavioral data can be collected. Novelty, potentially, yes or no. So, potentially, real-time detection gaps exist. Implementation, yeah, if you're able to, let's say, for example, do identify some AI monitoring tool or some sort of facial behavioral analytics. So of course, you have the implementation opportunity. So edtech industry relevance it has. Publication, we just discussed, you will have 5+ paper opportunities. Patent, moderate to high specific mechanisms are protectable. So if you combine design thinking, research methodology and innovation and patent thinking, I think you are moving in the high impact research direction. So I give you this slide, this one, just to analyze if your research problem is strong enough. Look at these 6 questions. If you have get at least 5 ticks or 4 ticks, I think you're good to go. And when you are validating your whole research problem, some are of course overlapping. So I think you're good to go. I wanted to have you as research uh, out of the box thinking mindset. If will not have out of the box thinking mindset, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you 2-3 minutes break, and in the meanwhile, I'm sharing a puzzle with you. So just take 2 minutes break, and after that break, spend 5 minutes on this puzzle and see if you are able to solve it. The hint here is out of the box. So you have to connect all 9 dots by drawing 4 lines without lifting your pen and without retracing any part that you have drawn. So just take a break of 2 minutes. We'll connect back at 3:52. And before that, if you're able to solve it, just raise a hand. So anyone with the answer? So far, do we have any answer? You can probably switch on your video, or maybe if you have got the answer, you can share in the chat. Anjali, you say we can do it by folding paper. Did you try that? ET, you have written from middle bottom one. Okay. So since we just have last 5, 6 minutes left, what I'll do is I'll just display the answer and just share it with you and just have a look. This is how it is. So my hint was out of the box. Just try doing this. I know you'll have some difficulty while drawing this as well. Just take 1 or 2 minutes, just try doing this. You have to really move out of your comfort zone. So I've kept it towards the end. So just wanted to give you a food for thought towards the end that we all need to really move out of our comfort zone if we really want to do something impactful for ourselves, for our family, and for the society as a whole. Writing research paper is easy, but writing patentable research paper is effort taking, and writing and doing something industry applicable is difficult. So we really need to, if we want to go to that stage, need to move out of our comfort zone. That's what this puzzle shows us. Is it okay if I stop sharing? I think you all have seen the solution now. can just take a picture, maybe a screenshot, and I'll share it with you. Okay. So thank you for being very patient, and I think it was a very interactive session today as compared to yesterday. And you guys were a wonderful audience by giving response on the Mentimeter questions. And I think we all learned something today relevant to your fraternity. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I'm open to take any for thoughts or questions. And any questions, thoughts, I'm happy to answer. Komal, over to you. You can take care of the ending remarks.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. I hope participants learned a lot. Is there any query from the participants? If you have any query, you can raise the hands. Okay, ma'am. It's a request. Can you share the PPT?
So
Participants.
I will share. Yes, I will share both yesterday as well as today's PPT. Yes, I will do that.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much,
Thank you
ma'am,
so
for such a
much. Thank
wonderful
you. Have a
session.
good day.
We will meet tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll
Ma'am.
meet tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Have a good day.